You're gonna need a new bumper.
Did you say?
What's going on here? Oh, do we got sound now? All right. All right. Yeah, we'll start over then. Wrong button. All right. Yeah, we'll start over the run. Go over my spiel. Dang, it was so good too. I accidentally hit the wrong button, so I gotta go there. Wrong map. Luckily, this game makes it really easy to exit back to the start screen. Title. All right. Okay, we'll start from the top. All right, this is Étoile Princesse for the Sharpix 68000. I am playing on actual hardware here. This is a game by the company called Exact. They were fairly notable, like 68,000 developers making some really cool games like this. They also made a really cool mech grappling platformer called Aqualess. They also made a really, really impressive first-person 3D action game called Geograph Seal, which they would later use as the base for the Jumping Flash series, which they are also the developers of. They also made a Ghost in the Shell game for PS1 that people may or may not know about. They also did the Mr. Mosquito games before they went under, or before they shuttered, rather. But this is the only game like this that's like on the cute side, and I absolutely love it. I love most of the games they've done. It's fantastic. But let's get right into this. And then 3, 2, 1, and go. So this is Étoile Princesse. We play as the main character we play as is Étoile, the princess of Fairyland. We are betrothed to a prince named Soul, but he gets kidnapped. We don't care about too much because we weren't too interested in marrying him in the first place. Because I think it was like an arranged blind marriage kind of thing. And then we get shown a picture of how cute he is, and it's like, oh snap, well, let's go save him. He's pretty darn cute. We're gonna start here by just jumping on some trees, because this game's really cool, where you have a lot of freedom in your movement. Like, I don't know too many games that let you jump on top of objects so freely. But I'm also jumping here because sometimes you can get caught in the trees' hitboxes, I guess. And I grab this herb. So the first item I grabbed restores your mana when you use it. This one restores your health. I'm grabbing them because you need to. It's like we need these chests to be able to get on the trees, but also they're handy to have in general. So we're gonna get here to the first boss. It's basically kind of like a tutorial boss. But it also turns out that a lot of people are kidnapped, mostly women. We'll get into that later. This boss's AI, basically, his phase is basically his hands chase you around and then he shoots his head at you, but most of the time he won't attack at all if you're way down here. His hands can't reach you. His hands also act as like a blocking for your damage. Move up here a bit. And we're rescuing our first girl. I sadly don't know the names of the people we rescue. I just never gone through the manual to read them because it only lists some of them as well, not all of them. But this the one we rescue here is our most important one. She's going to be our main boss killer. Pick her up, so you can just have 3 different characters you can swap through, but we only have 2 available right now, of course. But she's basically, I would say she's probably like the weakest character, but the way damage works in this game makes her very, very powerful against bosses. So this is an all collectibles run, which means I need to open up every red and gold chest in the game. Basically, they're the only chests that don't have an item in them when you revisit the stage, because you can revisit the stage in this game to collect missing items. So red chests are almost exclusively either maps, health upgrade items, or key items to beat the stage. There are some exceptions of like special items you can get, and I'll go over those as we get them. So I hit a couple switches there to open the path, or to lower the bridge there. And we're just going over here. We're going to get a very important item that's very, very useful for speedrunning, and it's kind of why I really love this game, because like it just makes the movement so much fun for me. So I like games where the movement's just a little bit loose. Like I used to run a game called Magic Knight Rare, where when you got to running speed, the movement got really loose and fun, like this. So like the way this works is you just jump when you're in the air, you just press jump again, you hold the jump button, and you'll just be at running speed and you get this cool after range while you're running. And that's starting to be a main form of movement because you move really fast. Grab our first health upgrade down here. The nice thing about health upgrade up when you grab them is it refills your health full. And we're going to be filling up that entire Kirby health bar down there. So again, a couple more switches. Lets us cross this bridge here. We get an item that I have no idea what its use is, but it exists, and it's the only one and not in a chest. And it's just a protective charm. And they make a joke about it. It's like, well, he's dead. Was that charm really all that useful? And I have no idea what it does, because like the description for it's really vague. It's like if you wear it, something might happen. And nothing. I've never seen anything happen. So now we're switching to her, because she's going to wreck this boss for us. So we have charge magic, you have a mana bar, and we can can stand inside an enemy, and the way her attacks work is that she shoots up a bunch of like little attacks that don't do much damage on their own. But when you're inside the hitbox, each one does damage since the bosses don't have iframes. And we can just completely wreck bosses that way. And so I would say about half the people we rescue aren't going to be our allies, but they'll give us either an item or a health upgrade. I think they all give a health upgrade, but some give items. And this one gave us a defense ring, which will reduce the damage we take when we have it equipped. And I'm going to put that right away, of course, because it's really nice not to take as much damage. Especially when we're walking in enemies. So I'm going to do that. And see, immediately I'm already taking less damage. So grab this map here. I'm going to do a funky little jump here just to skip a little bit of running around. You're in the way. There we go. And so it just skips us from having to run all the way to the right and run around just to get up that ledge normally. Grab that. Only 2 chests in this stage. We will be doing some revisits late in the game, because there are some chests that we can't get on our first pass, main gold chests, because we don't have a way to open them. Go away. There. Down there. And so I really like with this game is there's no barriers, you can just jump wherever you want. So it makes it just really fun to figure out ways to go fast. Go ahead and swap. And like one of the little charms of this game is that each character says something different when you enter a boss fight. So depending on who you have active, it will say different things about what's coming up. There we go, that's not so bad. So we won't be seeing too much character variety in the run. There's probably 3 more characters that we'll actively use. This character we'll put in our party because she's just useful later. We never actually use her, but she has a useful ability. There's only 2 characters that have passive abilities that are like useful in specific instances. And right now she's not useful, but I just put her in now just so I don't forget. So now we're in the Dragon Volcano. In the map. And previously we were in the Lava Tube Cave. There we go. So we're just gonna do some jumping here. And this is just basically like one giant zigzag up the mountain. Like, the stages in this game are fairly short, but there's a lot to explore, and it helps that they keep that maps are easy to get right away. There we go. Very nice. Go over here, get that. For the most part, you can just skip killing enemies. There's no real benefit to them unless you like need to farm like mana or something, because like they can drop recovery items. Ooh, it's been a while since that orc has gotten me. Usually he's not that far low, but once in a while that happens. Ooh, he's at it again. Let's kill him. That. So right here we got a fairy that drains your MP to restore HP if you have it equipped. Not particularly useful for the speedrun, but casually it's pretty nice. Because it costs 1 full bar of MP to cast a spell, and we need all we can get for speedrun. So like I'm going to use this one here just to get rid of that guy quickly, and we're going to have a fun little trick with this fight. We got a giant dragon here. I'm trying to sneak up on him, but not having that. I'm going to jump down, we're going to fall down here, and now the dragon can't hit us. For whatever reason, if you fall down there and just don't move, the dragon just will never be able to hurt you. Very rarely a small, well, falling spike can hit you, but it's been so long since I've had that happen to me. Now, none of the bosses like seem pretty easy and cheesy for the most part, and they are if you go what I do. But there are a few bosses that require actual like strategy to them. Now this girl, she's not joining us, but she's helping us out get to the other island. just gonna toss us over there like a good friend. And then 2 more areas lock up. We're gonna go here to Jeremiah's Tower. And I like this area a lot. It sucks to when we have to do the revisit because like the item we need to get is on the top floor or near the top floor. But I like this dungeon a lot. Because it just has good music, it's fun to move around in. So our goal is just to get to the top of the tower here. There's not a whole lot of puzzle solving, it's mostly just hitting switches. It's definitely a game that focuses on the action more than anything. And playing this casually, I had a blast with it. It was fun just beating up the enemies and working my way through, figuring out where to go. And it's just fun going fast too. It's just, like I said, just the movement feels good, the music's really good. It's just, there's a lot of good replayability. We're gonna jump down this hole. And only one of these switches is the correct switch. Unfortunately, it's always the same switch. So I don't have to do any guessing. If you get the wrong switch, something falls on you and deals a little bit of damage, and basically have to get the right switch. Glitch out the universe. Hit that switch too. Opens this door. Go over this way. Up we go. Now jump down here. There's 2 holes you can jump down, but only one of them actually takes you where you need to go. Get the handy health upgrade item. And now we can go take on the boss. Getting caught in the walls there. It's alright. So we can't go near yet. Despite my best efforts, you can't just force your way through. But we gotta turn off the fire with this switch here. And like that, fires are out, and we can move on. Ah! Oh man, it's been a long time since I fell there. So basically where that wizard or whatever sorcerer guy is, he has to teleport up, but I have to wait for him to move, because otherwise I get knocked off. There we go. And teleports us right to this boss fight with this demon dude. And he's a pretty easy fight. He's even kind enough to drop down enemies that occasionally drop health. And he also drops his loincloth. Fortunately, we don't have to look at that. They're kind enough to put in mosaic censoring. So we got this girl here, all she does is improve her health. Like I said, most of them, they just improve your health. A couple of them give some items that are, they're useful, but not in the speed run. Except for the defense ring you get right at the start. Because, you do get an attack boost ring. Okay, so yeah, one note, the third girl I brought, that's pretty useless. What she does, she's a fire expert, so she lights the room for us, so we're not running through this in the dark. Which, it's not hard to do, it's just a lot easier, and especially for the viewers, and more pleasing to see when you can see where you're going. Okay, there we go. So we hit a switch, and it opens up a pathway where we want to go next. But, oh yeah, so the attack ring is an item you can get that increases your physical attack, but it doesn't do anything for your magic spells. So while it's a handy item for, just dealing damage, it doesn't do anything for, your overall damage if you're using magic. And so, yeah, having defense is just more useful. There we go. Alright. Oh, the skeleton got me. It's alright though, we got a lot of health to burn through. waiting on this platform cycle here. Alrighty. Across and down. Get that switch to open this path here. Now we got some rocks, floating rocks here that will fall if you stand on them for too long. But yeah, so like if you play this casual, there's a lot of variety in your characters that you can choose from. They all have different kinds of attacks, different kinds of magic. They're all really fun to play as, and they feel unique enough that you never feel like, this character feels a lot like this other one. Like one character lobs bombs, another one throws her staff, which will be actually, oops. Let's get rid of that bat. That will be a problem if I don't. There's also one character who's a melee sword attacker. I don't really like using that much, if only because like melee attacks just don't feel good in this game to me, but I'm sure someone would feel otherwise. Got baited. Let's get rid of you. But for like the most part, this is like a pure action game. There's no like RPG elements really, other than like you have different characters you can play as. The rope. So there basically there's a gap that we couldn't cross, but there was obviously a place to tie up a rope, like this one right here. But of course there was no rope there, so there was nothing we could do. Yeah. And this game's pretty generous with healing items too. There's green chests all over the place that you can just grab. And away we go. Be like right over there. Okay, let's see if I can get this cycle. Awesome. It scares me every time. Luckily this game is very forgiving in general. Swap. Because like even if you die to a boss, it just restarts you in the room before the boss fight, so you can fight it again. The only catch is that it does use any items that are consumables. There we go. Ooh, I'm low on health. There we go. Fortunately, this game does have a low health indicator beep, but if you have a healing item equipped, that goes away, because basically the way consumables work is that with healing items, they are automatically used when you run out of health as long as you have it equipped. With MP items, if you have it equipped, it refills your MP on your next cast. So we got this girl, she's a demolitions expert. I find that, like, casually, she's actually pretty fun to use, although her attacks are kind of weird, because, like, she has different kinds of attacks. Like, she has a regular bomb lob, she has a different kind of bomb lob for jumping kind of thing. There's that again. I don't remember what her magic is, though. Just too much of using the same characters in the speedrun makes you forget. But yeah, on every stage except the first one, there's a map that you collect. The first stage does have a map. It's just that it's given to you right at the start. This item is really useful if you're completionist. That's a compass that points to the nearest chest in the room. So like it'll just spin around if there is no chest to find. So it's really handy if you're just trying to find everything. And it really helped me out in routing this game to make sure I wasn't going to miss anything. Here. Fortunately, they put hitboxes on these little pedestals so you don't have to go all the way around, you can just cut through. Alright. Another health upgrade. Since I used my healing herb in the last fight, I need to grab another one. Luckily, they always have healing items right before a boss. It's just I have to go slightly out of my way for it. There we go. Probably won't need it, but I like to have the safety. This boss is also kind of on the inconsistent side. Fighting a Reaper kind of guy. Like, so he throws his throws his scythe around, and he moves around, and you have to chase him. So like, I just wait to cast my magic, and then just like deal damage in between when he's vulnerable. And sometimes he moves twice too, which is like kind of annoying. And then you'll also notice me jumping, because like his hitbox isn't always on the ground, so I jump just so that I'm always constantly dealing damage to him. Suddenly, death from Castlevania, exactly. And so now we got this girl. I find her very useful for the final boss fight, and I haven't really found her useful for anything else, but I like playing her casually in general. She throws her sat, and you can control its movement, which I think is really, really neat. And her magic slows down time, even works on bosses, it's great. Now we're off to the Mania Forest. One of the harder boss fights, I feel like, just because even with damage mitigation, the boss deals a lot of damage. Of course, we're going to go all the way up here. And the gimmick of this stage is that there are like thorny plants blocking our path, so we need to talk to these trees, and they're going to help us out by getting rid of those thorny plants that are in the way. So we got the regular, like, middle-aged tree, and then we got this this old tree here. He's like on the verge of death, like, you know, that grandpa tree kind of thing. I mashed a little too much there. Got stuck there. And then we got this little baby tree here, or baby sprout on, like growing on that tree that was cut off. And he helps us out. I don't believe that one's required for just beating the stage casually, I don't remember. But for getting all the collectibles, he is very much required, because he removes this one here that blocks the path to this item. Okay, never mind, he is required. Over here, skip some of this platforming section by just taking a shortcut. Okay, awesome. Sometimes those orcs block my path, and I have to deal with them. And we got this fun little guy here. Just like the goofiest looking tree. Except he throws bombs, he's kind of mean. See, I'm gonna use that just in case. And I'm glad I did. There we go. Yeah, the googly eyes are fantastic. And so here we found a teleporter that takes us somewhere far away to the Valley of Night. There's like the bridge there is broken, so I guess we had to find an alternative path. And so because I'm using the healing item, I need to grab a chest here. Fortunately, this stage is pretty free for grabbing stuff. Swap. It is just like slightly slower because there's a note on each of the chests that we have to read out. It's like, hey, come to my shop, because like this is like the home to someone's shop. And of course, because this is the Sharp X68000, there's an obligatory shmup section. Although it's like, I'd say it's just more of just like dodging for a little bit than actually being a shmup. Spooky Suddenly Earthbound. Yeah, you're right. I didn't thought about that. But I think it's like kind of like a cool little showcase of like what you can do on the X68000 as well, with like multiple layers of parallax scrolling. And we got this fun little boss. He's kind of hard casually, I feel. But like in the speedrun, you can just do that. You can just fall off. And I just wait for when I see the animation of him flying back up. Ooh, wow, he didn't fall. There we go. He normally falls. There we go. So I just like I charge my spell, and then I wait for him to see the animation of coming back up, and that's the perfect time to jump into him. Yeah. So, like, for people who don't really know about the Sharp X68000, it was like a home computer released in Japan in the late 80s. It was 100% made for video games and video game development. Like, Capcom famously used it for developing all their CPS1 games, like Ghouls and Ghost and the Speed Rumbler, which appeared earlier this week. Street Fighter, you know, was also a CPS1 game, or Street Fighter 2. But it wasn't commercially successful, but it found a big home with homebrew developers. Like, there is just so much homebrew, and a lot of like small companies got their start on this platform. But as far as like as the system specs go, you can think of it as like the Genesis's older brother, or the Mega Drive if you're European or Japanese. Because it runs on the same CPU, just at a much faster speed. My particular model runs at 16 megahertz. The base model is 10 megahertz. Has a lot more RAM. Most of the time they were 2 megabytes. Mine's been upgraded to 10. And there's not really any reason to have that much RAM, but it's really handy for loading games off the hard drive, since it just can load the entire game in RAM. And it had an upgraded sound chip, the Yamaha 2151, which most arcade hardware used at that time. Oops. Whereas the Genesis had like a lower spec version of the same chip. And also you could use MIDI. I forgot to mention, the fairy I picked up here lets you jump farther and higher at the cost of MP cast. So every time you jump, it wastes 1 tick of MP. See, I'll need to grab a spare recovery item at some point. And if you remember back from the first stage where we jumped on the trees, and it just seemed like you weren't supposed to be there, it's definitely intended and encouraged, because you have to get up here by jumping on that pillar, and then jumping on up here to get that health upgrade. Because when I first played this game, I was like really puzzled about how to get up there, because it's like I couldn't find a way up. And then it just like dawned on me when I was like going through it, and I had the jump fairy equipped. It's like, oh, I can just jump onto that and get it from there. Oops. And the bats are the hardest enemies to deal with, I feel like. At least as far as the speedrun, they move around a lot. You have to jump to hit them. And I'm trying not to hit that brown orb thing, because if you hit them, they multiply and they just become more obnoxious to deal with. There you go. Free from that. I took some damage though. So yeah, so I'm gonna grab this. I'm also going to grab this because I don't have one. Now this boss I like a lot from a design standpoint. I think it's just really, it's really interesting. Sadly, like, you don't get to see the full routine of the boss fight in most of the time in the speedrun, because you just kill it too fast before I have the chance to go through its phases. But I think it's just really cute. It's the giant squid with a sword and a shield. It's really adorable. Yeah, doing pretty good damage to it. There. So basically, if you were to let it get to phase 2, it tosses away its shield and pulls out another sword and starts doing some really fun attacks, and I love it. But we just defeat the boss too fast for it to go into that second phase. So here we get Blue Haired Girl. She's important, not for the next stage, but this a couple stages later. But I'm going to place her in now, just so that I don't have to worry about menuing her in later. And so normally you would do this stage first, because it's where you land on after all the stages unlock in this area. But I do the other stage first specifically for the jump fairy, because it allows us to do some platform skipping in this stage. Small stuff, but like there's a later stage where it's much bigger. It's much more important. But this is basically a rundown castle that's been taken over by the undead, and so it's like zombies and skeletons and all sorts of stuff coming at you. Okay, over here, and now we're gonna put the jump fairy and see if we can get this jump. Yes, awesome. So normally you can't make that jump, but the jump fairy just gives you enough distance to make it barely possible. And it allows us just to skip wandering around the maze of the room. And we're going to do it one more time here. Same deal, just saves us from having to run around the room. We're going to get some glasses here. They will allow us to read, of course. We've got this mirror here, but we don't know what it's for because we don't know what to do with it. We find this book over here. We can't read it, but with the glasses, we can read what it says, and it turns out it's an incantation for access to this mirror. Oops. And it takes us to a mirror version of that area where everything's kind of hazy as well. Go over here. And then we say the incantation again, brings us back up here. Grab this so that I have just more MP for the boss fight. This boss has a lot of HP. It's not a difficult fight, but he has a lot of health. It's basically like a haunted suit of armor. And I will say, like, there's one like really nice quality of life thing this game has. Oh, I'm scared right now. Okay, now I'm not scared. A little bit slower a fight, but that's fine. If I really need safety, I can go up here because the boss can't attack me with his melee attacks. Oh, he can. I was gonna say he can't hit me. It's going a bit scary, that's fine. But for the most part, I'm safe up there. A bit of a messy fight, but that's alright. And then we get this girl. She reveals the Palace of the Sun, which is our next area. She also gives us a big health upgrade. Yep, my party's good here. There's so we're gonna be using the jump fairy again here. Hopefully, I'll be able to get it. I'm only gonna try it a couple of times because it's kind of painful if I keep failing too much. And that's okay. Grab this. Alright. Jump fairy. So this is like a really, really tight jump to get. And I jumped too soon there. There we go. Nice. Second try. I will happily take that. So it allows us to skip doing some stuff on this floor, but we still have to go this floor anyways to get the chest. But normally you would go all the way up and left in this area, and then you would go upstairs, and then you'd have to go over the roof of the palace to get across since the pathway is broken. You gotta be careful here, that wall of spikes will hurt you. Down here. Recovery items. And so just like being able to do that jump just saves a good chunk of time. Over here, jump down here, there's a nice hidden chest here. Just basically recover a mana for the boss fight coming up. Over here, we get a very important item, the red key, which allows us to go open gold chests now. There are a couple of gold chests we will have to go back for, but for the most part, the rest of them are in the rest of the game. This is also one of the few boss fights, especially going forward, where it automatically swaps to either mostly just as a gag joke, and here we get the first appearance of the evil villain, as far as I know, just named Emperor X. And see, I get a facsimile of ourselves. There we go. So I bring this girl in for this fight, just mostly just to get some extra free damage in, since it's a lot harder to stand in or hit the boss's hitboxes while. I wasn't expecting the head to come off so early. There we go. Usually that boss is dead before the head comes off, but once in a while that does happen, and it throws me off a little bit because it's not a common thing. And here we get the only male character in our party. He's a melee sword attacker. His magic is pretty powerful, so we'll actually be using it in the next stage and nowhere else. The problem is that it's inconsistent. It shoots a giant laser beam, but you can't change the direction he's facing while it's active. So, and if he gets hit, his direction can change, which makes him kind of obnoxious to use. I'll swap you out for you. And blue-haired girl is required for the stage. This is the only stage in the game where you have to bring a character with you. And I didn't know the reason why, like story-wise, why she was brought with until today when I was like going through the game just to refresh myself on some of the story points. Which there isn't really much of the story, it's mostly just like a cute adventure. But we're collecting these pearls. This is the mermaid pearl here. And basically you just need to put on these pedestals to work with. I'll grab another one as well, and then just open the pathway. There's a really nice jump you can do to get across there, but because we need the map here, we can't do that jump, sadly. It's just really inconvenient. But we can do it on the way back, of course. One thing to note about these fairies is that they can block enemy projectiles, even though it's not like their function. It's just like a nice side effect of them having hitboxes of their own. Okay, put that down, go back to defense ring. But see, just jumping around, you lose so much mana. Like I'm already through half my mana gauge. I'll go up here, grab another item. Or no, this one just push a button, that's right. And then, okay, here we go. So, for whatever reason, unless we bring the blue-haired girl, we cannot grab that pearl. I'm not exactly sure why. The dialogue doesn't really do a whole lot to explain it. Other than, I'm just gonna grab it kind of thing. But she's the only one who can. Here, I hit a couple switches. And I'm gonna refresh this item. That switch. And we just basically cleared all the water here, so we can now move on to where we need to go. And we're going to open up our very first gold chest, which, of course, healing item. Most of the gold chests are not healing items, max HP items, and most of the gold chests are going to be like that. there's a couple that'll have like items in them. One of them is extremely useful, and I'll talk about it when we get it. Here's my MP. Get sword guy. Grab that pearl, and then put that pearl in place. And we got this guy. He's like a jellyfish kind of thing. You can get 2 casts in. Technically we get a 3rd one in, but this attack is like kind of hard to dodge if you're not careful. And if you get hit, then all your damage is gone. And like you can only hit this boss with projectiles, and I feel like they intended you to use the blue-haired girl because her attack is like it's a thin, but it's a piercing attack. So it can go through the tentacles that can block your attack. This is for the Sharp X68000, home computer from Japan from the late 80s. Okay, swap back to best girl for damage. Yeah, it's a wonderful system. A lot of really, really amazing games on it. There we go. So now we're in the Castle in the Sky. This is probably like has the most chests of any dungeon, but they're almost entirely mandatory items for completing the dungeon. Wow, those guys are really chasing me around. Here we have to hit this button, and it's a really, really tight window to get through to that door. Yep, jump over that. And we need to clear this room of enemies. Sorry, I forgot to pull something up, but apparently I can't. So we grab that crystal. Basically, we need to collect 3 crystals to open each door. So technically, if we go down, there's a chasm that has invisible platforms that we can't see. I don't know whether or not they exist, but you can't proceed without the 3 gems. Like, they may exist invisibly, but there's a locked door later on that stays locked until you grab the gems and you switch up too high. Wow. So this one like has a bit of a hike to it where you have to hit all 4 switches. Okay. Sorry about that. Got Prism Crystal number 2. I'm gonna kill this guy. Because those spiders shoot homing lasers that trail you around in right angles. So we gotta wait for that, because that's gonna disappear. Awesome. Now we gotta wait. I've tried to get the other platform to like try to get an early cycle, but it's impossible to reach it in time. It's like I figured, oh man, I can just do the jump fairy to make the jump, but nah. Now I've got like a mirror puzzle here. You can walk into them or hit them to make them spin. It's kind of annoying that you can do both. But like as long as I'm careful, it's not so bad. And so here, we can go here from the start, but these platforms don't exist unless you do light up, unless you have all 3 crystals put in and light up. So now we need to collect a couple more items. We need to get a mirror and another crystal. And that'll basically let us solve the last puzzle in this dungeon. 1, 2, 3, 1. And I can hit that even though it hasn't appeared yet. Sometimes you can hit it and it'll let you count it as working. Grab the health for safety, and the MP because it's just great to have more MP. This is also another fight where it automatically switches to Ryujue. This fight's if you know what to expect, it's a pretty easy fight. Basically, after every teleport, he'll not cast, and then he'll teleport again to cast, and that's going to keep your damage in. Up to a point, after a certain amount of phases, he'll start being more random about it. I'm just getting them some damage in. And there we go. I could have used an herb, but I just feel like it wasn't really necessary for this fight. Sometimes it is, sometimes it's not. So, now the final area is unlocked, just labeled as Emperor X, but we gotta do some backtracking first. I'm gonna swap you out for you. Yeah, I'm good to go. And so there's just a few chests that we couldn't get on our first time through that we need to collect. This one's kind of one of the more frustrating ones that I wish I could have gotten to get right away, but the jump is just slightly the gap is just slightly too big. It's just right here at the start. But unless you have the jump fairy, you cannot make that jump. Unfortunately, you can just exit the world map whenever. I didn't mention one of the items I get. There's that brown metal in my inventory. When you equip it, it drains your MP, but it makes you invincible while you have it equipped, but it drains your MP very, very quickly. Yeah, like it sounds useful, but in the speedrun, it's not particularly useful. And so there's two chests here, one red and one gold. The red one I technically could get on my first pass through, but it's next to the gold chest, so it's kind of redundant since it's out of the way as well. The jump fairy, we can just jump up here now. We don't have to figure out a way up there. Grab that. Another health upgrade. So now you'll see what this room is like if we don't bring the pink-haired girl. So if you bring her, no matter what, she'll light the cave for you. But because we don't have her, it's completely dark. And basically they just put in this like faux scanline effect to give like a hard to see darkness. Fortunately, we don't really need it. I know where we're going. It's reasonably visible on my monitor. But we're only here for this red fairy. Not a particularly useful fairy to me. Basically, it's an attack fairy. It deals damage. It's like the regular fairies where it floats around you, but it'll seek out enemies. And every time it hits an enemy, it takes one tick of your MP. Which I guess has its uses, but in the speedrun, it's not particularly useful. And then here is probably the stage with the longest backtrack, I would say. Because we have to go all the way to near the top floor of the tower. So it's basically, instead of going left, we go right. Kind of thing. There we go. Got some classic yokai designs. Really nice is we can enjoy the music in the stage more. Like one of the quirks of this game, and probably just like a lot of the games of the area, is when you open the chest and it plays the G roll, it resets the music loop to a specific point. And for the most part, it's fine because it just like gets faster to like the good parts, like the really hot parts of the song. But like it's just kind of weird. It's kind of just weird after a while when you hear it a lot. So yeah, here, just go, instead of going left to go to the top floor, we just go here, open this chest. And I'd argue this is like one of the more useful items. It's just called like the magic glove, and what it does, it increases your MP bar by 1. So for like most characters, they only have 3 casts. They'll have 4. And for the characters that have 4 casts, now they have 5. And it's a shame we have to wait so long in the run for it, but you know, that's what it is. So now that we have the jump fairy, we can just skip a lot of the mandatory platforming that this stage had. Not all of it, of course, but a lot of it. Whoa. Like here, we can jump up here instead of having to dodge the rocks. Stand on the edge over here for the last little chest. Alrighty. So now we're done with that. Oops, wrong button. Now we can go to the final stage. Emperor X. Now I don't know if that's the name of the... I think that's just the name of the villain that they've coined. Like, it's not listed anywhere in the manual, and the character themselves doesn't ever say their name, as far as I can tell. So now we need to collect some gems, secrets, and items here to open doors. Map, of course. There's like, you can do the required platforming to reach these, but the jump fairy lets you jump high enough to just get it. I suppose if you don't know where to find it, it can be like a thing, but because it is out of the way. But if you're willing to explore, it's a really useful item. Just like that, you have collected every single collectible in the game. Yeah, our health bar is full, our inventory is as full as it can be. Easy. Okay, gotta do some careful platforming here. I gotta deal with that. Okay, awesome, I didn't get on there. Sometimes I can get hit accidentally because like I don't jump in time and fall off and have to redo that. Mostly I just don't want to drain my MP anymore so that I'm maxed out and topped off with the boss. I don't need to grab that. Normally I would grab that to refill my health, but fortunately dropped an apple, so I don't have to worry about that. Now we gotta do a little bit more platforming over here. We don't want to fall, otherwise it'll go down to the floor below, but we do need to do that over here because it's the only way we can get to this part of the... And once more. Voice can be heard. So here we meet the main villain once again for the final time. And we get the final boss, who I only assume is Emperor X. It turns out she is a collector and she wants to collect people. So like all the people we've been rescuing are people that she's been collecting for a personal collection of whatever sorts. Which I would have never guessed with the story until I read it. But now she's a giant dragon. Get this character. I like this character a lot, but she's like a bit of a hassle to use for magic, but like she slows down time. And while you have your weapon out, you can control its movement, which is like just super handy. But like the catch is, in order for her to cast her magic, you have to wait for the staff to come back. But it's just really handy for dealing a lot of damage, especially on this boss. Like you can see the health is draining. So each of the heads has its own HP, but they're all linked as like one giant HP pool as well. Some damage here, very, very nice. That was a little too soon. That's fine. Nice. A very good fight. And with that, it's time. We have saved Prince Soul. And we forgot who he was, but we just give him a kiss anyways. And with that, we get a lovely credit scene with some beautiful, gorgeous, like, pixel art they've done. Yeah, thank you for the GGs, everybody, and thank you so much for having me. I fell in love with this game, and I am glad I get to show it off for a marathon. It is just such a good time, and it's so much fun. Like, I highly recommend anyone to look up the X68000 emulator, check out its library. There's a lot of really amazing games, especially if you love shmups. It was a bastion of homebrew scene for people who want to make shmups. There's a lot of really good action games. There's some good RPGs. Um, Genocide 2 is a fantastic game by a company called Zoom. It's a really cool mech action game. What's that other game? Mad Stalker got a start on the X68000 before being ported to other systems. Of course, there's game. There's Aqualess, an amazing grapple mech action game. There's just so much cool stuff. Geograph Sea Line. Highly recommend that one. It's a really, really cool first-person mech action game that really showcases what you can do on the hardware. Like, it's in full 3D, you know, flash shaded polygons. It's like that Star Fox style, except you're piloting a mech and it's really cool. But yeah, thank you so much everyone for having me. There's a little tag at the end of the thing here. It's just mostly like we string the emperor off the edge of the floating island, and it's kind of funny. You know, this is just like a gag comedy game. And she's like, "It's over. Hey, don't forget about me." Oh, but Terashi, please remember me. And down she goes. Who knows if she's okay or not, but that's the end of the game. Thank you so much for having me, and uh, I'm always happy to participate in RGL marathons. Take care, y'all, and thank you.